versus when he retracts, basically feeding us into a flanked position. However, if we do manage to get a bit closer to our partner and have meaningful connection at the upper body, generally that's going to mean like the 2-on-1's like kind of like the minimum that I'm willing to accept, but any form of locked hands around my partner's upper body, this is when I'm willing to commit to this knee cut and then basically take my trail leg back and almost sprawl it backwards. So now when my partner tries to keep this K guard on me, I reduce the purchase on my hip. So now when he tries to keep me in the guard, it's very difficult, and I'm able to start looking at knee cut forward. As opposed to keeping this leg out, right? If I keep this leg out when I try knee cut, especially, I mean, you could injure someone if they were poorly flexible, but if they weren't that flexible, they probably wouldn't be playing this position. So my recommendation is when you get upper body position, trail leg back, and from here you can finish the knee cut. When you can't do that, like let's say he's pushing your upper body away, right, then this is when we start looking to stuff this, and we can play depending on how they resist. So this is just generally how I look to address this matrix position. And I think it's just like kind of like this back and forth I like to use, and often it'll just lead into the other passes that we already discussed. All right, so now let's talk about a K-guard situation where our partner manages to, let's say we don't do a great job, maybe they're hip escaping, they free their near leg, and they're able to attack a K-guard on us. So there's early stage, late stage defense on how we look to deal with this. Generally, it's going to involve me, ideally early stage, controlling this leg, because otherwise he goes backside 50-50 on me, and now this is backside 50-50 defense, not K-guard defense. But generally in these situations, the way I'm going to play this is my preference is to have, in this case, the arm that's closer to Lynn's head, grab this foot. And from here, I am going to be cautious that by grabbing this foot, I do incur risk. By grabbing this foot with either hand, you do incur risk. Like let's say he grabs my wrist from here and breaks this grip. He can go omoplata on me, stuff like this. And these are risks that I have to deal with. However, if you've watched any Jet Thompson highlight, not any, but probably some of his most famous highlights are from here. Mateusz Szczecinski also against Gary Tonin, where from here, when the partner looks to grab this secondary leg, stopping the K guard, they basically open and then they go for this arm bar and I get highlighted. So I actually prefer this because I find that it incurs less of a immediate submission risk for me. And from here, the main options I really like to use are initially what I'm going to look to do when my partner still has their hips on the mat and I feel like as though I can resist, I'm actually going to look to posture up and kind of lean my hip forward. So understand, let's move here, one right here. And Lynn has this foot in the hip. By leaning forward, it actually reduces, so we'll pretend he's not going to reap this, but notice when I'm bent over, Lynn has a great platform to hook his foot onto. So right now when I try to strip this, there's really very difficult for me to get a good purchase on this. But by hipping forward, now when Lynn tries to keep this sticky, I can like just push it off. Like just really try to keep it sticky. It's very easy for me to strip it. Versus when we're low, now when I try to do this, like try to keep it super tight, right? It's much tighter. So by hipping forward, it's going to give me a better ability to control my partner's foot. And we can initially, if we're scared of him attacking my arm, we can grab this monkey grip where from here, even if he does grab my arm, when he tries to bring this foot to my armpit, when he tries, it's difficult. So he can only use this arm. So as long as I don't get coiled by making sure like my arm doesn't stay here, I flare my elbow out, he tries to coil me, it's difficult. And now when I hip up, I can switch to this type of like pushing grip. So switching from a pulling grip to limit my partner's ability to move. He tries to move. It's difficult. I hip in, and I switch to a pushing grip. And now from here, I'm able to start looking to either move towards north-south, or as my partner tries to square up with me, we can move into our conventional flank positions that we talked about previously. If it does happen that my partner from here does actually manage to try to throw this leg over, whether it be not successfully, but they're lifting their hips off the ground to the point where it's like, okay, mildly threatening. What I'm going to look to do is, it's very difficult to see here, but I'm going to pummel my right hand to the inside. So let's actually move a little bit. We're from here. Lynn's attacking this K guard. I feel like he's elevating his hips. My right hand's going to come to the inside. And I'm basically going to connect my right knee to my right elbow. And I'm basically going to start almost switching my hips. Where from here, I'm going to let go of my left hand, basically, because if I just keep this here, I'm going to lift his hips up, but I don't want to give him my arm, right? So as I lift his hands up, I'm almost going to pummel my hand so it's no longer hooking here, so he can pull this in, right? If I hook here, he pulls the wrist in, he can grab me, but I'm almost come back. I'm feeding my hand behind my partner's hamstring. But now when he tries to pull this in, it's very difficult. And from here, what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to basically place my hand on the inside of his far hip. And from here, connect my knee as the hip in and turn my partner's hips away as I limp arm out. I'm going to basically go from a situation where I'm initially, from here, his hips are high. I'm initially basically in a squatted position. I'm going to extend my left arm and then drop my right knee and subsequently my right hip to the mat to clear my partner's K-guard. And it's important we do this in the appropriate timing, because if we try to do it when our partner's hips are flat, like here, I do just put myself out of position. But when they're really aggressively trying to attack this K-guard, this works very well to either expose the back or chain into a pass. So this is also a very nice option. However, once it is the case where from here, my partner either strips or I'm no longer able to keep control of this, and my partner starts looking to really get out of this, like free your foot, we have a few options. So we can either prioritize staying on top, or we can prioritize trying to transition into offense. In regards to staying on top, I basically concede a backside 50-50, where from here, he looks to enter. From here, I lose control, and I basically anticipate a back step. And from here, my ideal is that I can hit this back step before my partner even manages to transition to either a cross or a straight leg entanglement, where my foot's still relatively in the center of my partner's chest, right? If we see here, as to like, let's say someone's super good at like either 50-50 or outside ashi, we'd want to end here, because then I could still continue hand fighting, maybe building height and looking to pull out. If we do end in a 50-50, right? Obviously just looking to defend our heel. If we do end in an outside ashi, looking to build height and hopefully not get ankle locked. If we do find that our partner tries to ankle lock us, I just like to maintain height, and then you can use some degree of hand fighting. However, there's also a situation where actually I saw this counter like years ago by Kaiden Duarte in some training footage. And I mean like years ago, I mean like maybe 2020, 2021, where this was when right after Lachlan, not right after, like 2020, 2021 was like 2 years after Lachlan did super well in the absolute, where from here, as the opponent is looking to use this K-guard, if I can do anything preventative here, so long as I'm flexible enough, I can actually insert my right foot here, and I'm actually going to drop to my right shoulder as my right hand grabs my partner's waist, and from here, I'm going to be able to enter a crab ride position. It's hard to demo slowly because I kind of want to turn underneath my partner, but from here, I can basically, by falling to my hip, I'm going to be able to almost free myself of this K-guard, where by dropping, it makes it difficult for my partner to keep a hold of. And I'm basically using my foot, hooking at my partner's calf to open his foot as I use my knee on the outside of his thigh to kind of create this internal rotation, where if we come back, I'm not just hooking the back of his knee and trying to extend it. I create an internal rotation at the hip as to lift his hips off of the floor, right? And so if we see this is like kind of live. If we go here, head here. Right, from here, I'm going to look to pummel my foot to the inside. And then from here, we're going to be able to start looking to expose the back. I won't talk about too many of the details of chasing the back, but understand this is an entry that's available to you. If you are keen on this style of back taking, I recommend, the Meows are great at this. Mikey's very good at this. Levi is very good at this. So plenty of resources there to kind of watch and study this further. All right, so we went over the key master and the K-guard. Now let's talk about reverse Elahiva. And so we'll break this down into early stage, late stage. But from here, basically, reverse Elahiva only really exists when, when I'm standing. Because if we're here and he recovers his near